Going to do an unofficial, a little less formal of a welcome, but glad to have you all here tonight. And I'm going to bypass reading the opening statement, just given the fact I see almost all familiar faces here. Again, glad to have you here. And if you'll stand, we'll start with the pledge and prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father, we just pause and acknowledge you, and we ask that you will be with us in this meeting tonight. We ask that you will grant us wisdom, and you will give us protection over the school corporation and the students and all the faculty and staff. Please be with us through the week, and we ask that you will continue to guide us in all that we do. And we ask all this in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen. Again, glad to have so many of you here tonight. And we'll open up with the minutes. And I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the January 12th, 2026 school board meeting.
So moved.
Second. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Melissa. All those in favor? Okay. And I would also entertain a motion to approve the executive session from January 21st, 2026 and January 29th, 2026. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. All those in favor? Great. And we have some presentations this evening.
Yeah, up first, we'll go with the FFA officers that are here to provide a little highlight of what's been happening within the program. And I'll turn it over to them, and we appreciate you being here.
We're just going to start by introducing ourselves. I'm Maddie Rawlings. I'm the chapter's president.
I'm Riley Pelly. I'm the chapter's co-vice president.
I'm Max Rawlings, and I'm the junior reporter.
And I'm Lila Hull, and I am the junior sentinel.
This is just going to be a little bit over our FFA program and how we are doing so far. This is just going to be our table of contents and everything that we are going to go over in this presentation.
First, we're going to talk about Livestock Skillathon. Livestock Skillathon is a contest where you go and you have to memorize meat or feedstuffs, meats, breeds, and equipment. And you also have a written test. You go to this contest and you compete, and you memorize all these things, and you have to fill out a Scantron to be able to have your answers down. And this year in state, we placed 4th.
Livestock judging is a contest where members are given a variety of classes containing of beef cattle, sheep, goats, and swine, where they have 4 different animals that they are placed based on how they look, with structure, muscle, overall body correctness. This year, our senior team placed 3rd at state, advancing to nationals in Kansas City, where they placed 11th.
Soil is a contest for members to grade soil based on the type. They are given certain scenarios to grade on. Our senior team placed 15th, and junior teams 4th and 5th.
Parley is a contest similar to the meetings that we hold every month, except instead of having a bunch of members present, we just have our 7 officer positions. We memorize our opening ceremonies and a whole bunch of motions to make our meeting run smoothly and as formally as possible. And we are in front of a bunch of judges, and they placed us based off the Robert's Rules of Orders. And our senior team placed 7th this year.
Welding, event for members to learn how to stick and MIG weld. We placed 5th at area, with the advancing team to the beginner team advanced to state, placing 10th.
Small engines is when many members take part of taking a part of
an engine and then putting it back together. The next competition will be this March.
I'm sorry.
Meat judging is similar to livestock judging, but instead of judging the actual animals, we judge them based off their carcass. And we will memorize a bunch of meat cuts and date, and we will be given data where we calculate their overall body fat and meat, and see their average throughout the entire class. And our state contest is coming up in a couple weekends on February 15th.
Veterinary medicine is when members memorize breeds, medicines, and also help take care of animals and vet tools so they can properly take care of animals. And the next competition will be in June.
LDEs are leadership development events. There are leadership contests where you can go and you either can speak, give a demonstration, or there are various other contests. We have a contest coming up this February 21st. It's a Lebanon Open contest, and there's pretty much an LDE for anyone. Personally, I competed in Crete speaking, and this year I'm competing in prepared public speaking.
These are just some pictures of all of our members who have participated in previous ones and awards we have won over the past couple years. Now we're going to be talking about our conferences and conventions.
SOAR is a conference for younger members to go to. It's 8th graders through 10th graders. It's a great way to go and meet new people, learn some leadership skills, and just be able to learn about FFA as a whole.
FIRE is similar to SOAR, except it is for our sophomores and through seniors. It is an opportunity for us to kind of figure out what we want to do with our future and prepare us for the world out of our FFA, and get us prepared for colleges by allowing us to apply for scholarships and how to properly do things like that.
LDW is a conference mainly for officers. It's a nice way for us officers to get away and go in planning with available breaks and just able to have fun. This is a nice way to just bond together as a team and learn how to work together best. It's also a great way to meet new people and learn different things, different ways that they do things.
State convention is a fun opportunity to meet new people from different districts, but still in the state of Indiana. And it was held at Purdue University, but it is now held at Fishers Event Center.
National Convention is one of the bigger events we go to. It's held every single year not every year, but it's held every year, and it has been at the Indiana Convention Center. It's a nice way for all the whole country to get together and learn about agriculture. There's multiple booths of colleges, different companies, different shops for students to go and look at and learn more about agriculture as a whole. They also have some fun events that go on, like the concert and the rodeo that you can attend, just for a fun way to meet new people. And they also have workshops and stuff for people to attend so they can learn better skills.
Recently installed 2025-2026 junior and senior officer team, and retired our seniors, Emma, Dottie, and Ashton.
Now we're going to be going over our recent upcoming events.
Our recent event or our upcoming events are National Farm Machinery Show. We will be sending students to this Friday. Day on the Farm will be held April 24th. FFA week is February 23rd through the 27th, and our goat show will be June 26th through the 27th.
Now we're going to briefly go over our membership and officers. On my side, we will see our senior officer team this year.
And on this side, there are the junior officers, and this is the picture of the senior officers, and this is the junior officers.
Okay, now we're going to be handing it over to Mr. Carroll and Ms. Smith.
Good job.
Thank you, officers. So if you have not met, this is Tony Carroll. This is our new agricultural assistant. So Tony and I wanted to go over a couple things that have been happening specifically in the ag department as a whole. So I'm going to pass it over to Tony.
So first of all, I feel very blessed to be able to work here as the assistant for the agriculture program. And what I do basically are a lot of the logistical items that the FFA advisor would be required to do. And so I know that when I taught high school agriculture, it would have been so nice to be able to have an assistant, because otherwise what I'm doing, Michaela would have to do in the evening time or on Saturdays or, outside of school time. But by having me in this position, it allows her to be able to focus on having a really, really strong classroom, because you can't have a strong FFA program if you don't have a strong classroom program first. And so that builds the foundation. So some of the things that I've been doing, Michaela wanted to start working on better communications. And so I have created a weekly newsletter that goes out. And then I compiled also at the end of the fall semester, a community newsletter that just highlighted everything that had been going on for that fall semester. And I believe all of you received a copy of that as well. And then I've also been able to secure some additional funding to help purchase some supplies that Michaela's been able to use in the classroom. And in particular, Boone County Pork Producers has provided some sponsorship to be able to provide a meats judging laboratory kit that's not only being used by the meats team, but can also be used in the classroom. And then the Boone County Master Gardeners program has provided a $500 grant that's going to be used to purchase some electronic pH equipment sensors that can be used to teach water quality.
Perfect. Thank you. So it's been awesome having Tony been able to really focus since coming back from maternity leave, focus on that classroom piece and creating more hands-on experience for our students and really seeing them get that further connection within their learning. So 2 ways that over the summer kind of helped me do that is I received a Lilly grant last January for $3,000 to go to Mizzou over the summer and attend a small engines professional development, which enabled our students to learn more about small engines, have better tools that is helping them experience that and get a little bit better at our CDE small engines contest as well. And then the next slide here has, I received a $10,000 classroom enhancement grant from the same Lilly Foundation. And I was able to order some lab aids kits and different supplemental material for those classes to, like I said, better enhance that hands-on learning. And I brought some things just to show here as well, but students have really been able to question. I've seen those wheels turning, better able to develop things. So we had a strawberry lab up in the corner that we did a few weeks ago, as well as a watershed lab, and those materials really helping students think a little bit deeper and be able to see the bigger picture there. It's gone a long way. So I brought a DNA model. Students said they were doing this in science class as well, and being able to connect and actually build the DNA strands and be able to replicate and split these apart and do that. They were able to make those connections, and I've heard a lot of great conversations. Something that's been awesome in classes. Well, what if I do this? And what if I do that? It's been awesome to hear those go on. But those are some updates within our agriculture department. So thank you guys for letting us come and present to you. We would love to hear any questions that you might have.
Well, first and foremost, thank you all for being here. Appreciate the work that you two do with kids and the extra work with the grants. That's very much appreciated and shows your commitment. What's the membership at now as a whole for the chapter?
Yeah, last time we checked, I think we're sitting about 55. 55 members for our chapter. When we look at ratio for that compared to classroom attendance, obviously we're trying to boost that a little bit, but we had 25 students take a summer SAE last year. And those are students that might not have been able to take an agriculture class, didn't fit into their schedule, but they still saw it as a priority to be involved in FFA. So they have to be enrolled in that agriculture education course. So summer SAE is how they can do that. So I think I had 25 or 27 students complete that over the summer. And sorry, the SAE is a supervised agriculture experience. It's an independent project students do over the summer. So I go and I visit all those students with the supervision of their parents as well. I look at what they're doing. Maddie does beef production. Riley does swine production. Lila does dairy goats. And Max does cattle as well. So these students, a lot of it is livestock projects, but I also have students that do blacksmiths. I have a student that does blacksmithing. I have a student that does leather work. There's some really, really cool ones. That's one of my favorite parts of my summer. Seeing what they're up to. It's really neat.
So you guys do a lot of different conferences and like educational opportunities that are kind of trips. How much of your time do you feel like you spend on FFA during the school year versus in the summer with those types of projects?
We definitely spend more of the majority of our time, like all the conferences are held during the school year, but during the summer we are all pretty busy with, I'm pretty sure most of us are in 4-H, so we're all pretty busy in the summer handling our animals and doing like the other projects that 4-H entails. But so no, it's not all FFA related, but it's still, we're still doing our SAEs and experience, our classroom experience technically.
So pretty much year round then.
Yeah.
You're at 55 students.
Mhm.
What's your capacity?
That's a
You have room
great
for
question.
group.
Yeah.
55 FFA members.
Yeah, so if you have FFA members, students, I don't know, I have to double check on that because we have some duplicate students. We're sitting a little over 100, I believe, on students in the classroom. Now, our capacity for like FFA meetings, I mentioned the other day, we're gonna start moving the community room because they're having to pull chairs out from the shop and things like that, which is great to see. But capacity of our FFA chapter, we have room to grow. And classes have some room to grow. It's hard to grow with a single teacher being able to hit that availability for all classes. I teach animal science one year and then I teach food science and vice versa. So students are having to split and choose and things like that. But I have 2 periods of exploring ag. So those are the 7th graders. And I have that both semesters. So I had a total of 4 7th grade classes this year. And being able to see those 7th graders, I think my 7th period and 6th period last semester, there are 25 students in those classes. So it'll be interesting to see how that translates over into the 8th grade class.
Thank you
Yeah.
you did a great job. Told you there was nothing to it, right? So, very good job. Appreciate your work with it. And good luck on the upcoming contest.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, the one thing last thing I'll throw out is we know what we hear a lot more generally. You'll see things advertised with, hey, this sports team did this or this sports team did that. I mean, even the swimmers work really hard, right?
Yeah.
But what's interesting from a board's perspective, even whenever we were interviewing for superintendents, one of the things that got brought up multiple times was candidates that came in referenced our FFA program and our ag program. So what you guys do is definitely on the radar in our community. And so it was really nice having you in here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've emphasized to them many times we're working on that growth, we're working to get back there, but at their officer installation here in January, we packed the room. It was, what was your final count, Tony, when you're
55
50.
parents and students.
55 parents and students, and we have an officer team that we're transitioning of about 12 to 14 students. So that was pretty amazing to see the parents and grandparents and family members come around and support those students. It really shows how much they care.
Well, great. Thank you all.
Good job.
Thank you guys.
Very good job.
That's going to be hard to follow, but I believe you're up next, Mr. Burke.
See if Ryan is right home.
Sometimes hard to walk, right?
My bald spot for you.
Okay, athletic department, we wanted to come and appreciate the opportunity to present about our strength conditioning program. Coach Nate Burke is going to run us through and the program and kind of the nuts and bolts of it. That's the majority of the presentation, and then we feel it leads into possible discussion on future needs for the program and then athletic facilities as a whole. But when we look at our success across the board athletically, there tends to be three pillars from all of our different mini youth leagues and the emphasis that goes into that, along with multi-sport participation, and then our strength conditioning program. And I think Nate does a great job of looking at the athlete as a whole and at each different sport and not specifying to individual or singling sports out. So be neat to, I think, go through this and see him walk you through it. And then Justin and I might interject at different points. And if there's any questions throughout, definitely stop him and we can talk through it.
All right. Yeah. Like you said, very appreciative of this opportunity, right? Not very often you get to stand in front of you guys and get to say what we do and kind of give you guys some highlights of the day-to-day process. But again, thank you guys for this opportunity. Today's presentation is not necessarily about talking over your heads or like going into the details of strength and conditioning, right? Trying to show you some highlights, right? Trying to be informative, tell you guys what we do on the daily basis, right? But also this should hopefully lead to some dialogue and some future thinking, some good conversations in the future about how we can grow, as an athletic program department and the community in itself, right? But quickly, I chose that picture. Sorry, it's in the background here too. But I chose that picture because those new plates are shining. They're bright. They are absolutely gorgeous. So thank you guys. That has made a world of difference in itself, right? All the T's at the top. I've been saying that for 4 weeks straight now. All the T's are at the top. But you walk in that way, it looks like a completely different place, and that is not even with our new floor yet. So yeah, again, thank you guys for that. A little bit of what we do. That's the hashtag that I've been using on social media. Kind of some highlights. We have 225 kids in class, right? If you look at our school at 513, that's 44%, right? So every single day, I'm seeing about half of our high school student population in my class. That's 7 periods a day, nonstop in that weight room. We're getting after it, right? So that's a great number to show. And that's not necessarily every single athlete, right? I want every single athlete to be in there, but you have the kids that are taking the AP classes, they're doing the vocationals. Some of those kids just aren't able to fit that in their schedule. So that number could be a little bit higher, which we're always constantly trying to strive for. So that brings us to about 32 per class. Okay, so I've had smallest class we have right now is 25. Our 7th hour girls is 25. I have a class of 41. It was just 42 freshmen, which is awesome, right? And then my sophomore, junior, senior class, 5th period is also 40 kids. And so we have a lot of bodies moving through that weight room on a constant basis. Right, every 10 minutes, a new group comes in, but it's a lot of fun for me, and I get to see a lot of great personalities throughout the day. But again, 32 kids per class and about a 3,000 square foot weight room. So it's a pretty awesome what we can do in that facility. And like you kind of said, we got 21 varsity sports. There's no one golden program, right? I can't sit here and say exactly what we do is the best thing every single kid should be able to do. But I think it fits our kids very well. And I think it is, it's going to have a lot of benefits to it as well. But it's for all 21 sports, right? There's not a single sport that takes precedence over another. So all athletes that come in there are treated equally and trained equally. Good video. Probably going to stand in the way here. Sorry about that. But here's a good video of sophomore Liam Whiteley. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of familiar faces in this. I did that on purpose. Okay, but this right here is the overall philosophy in a nutshell, right? I could talk about this for hours. I could do this for days. I could do this all day, every day. Okay, but again, this is the general philosophy, right? Notice a couple things. How fast is that barbell being moved, right? That bar is starting from his knees going overhead and a couple meters per second there, right? That's really incredible to see. And that's a sophomore boy. He's grown probably 15 inches in the last year. I would imagine gained some good weight, right? But again, a year ago, Liam Whiteley looks completely different, right? He's only a sophomore. Can't wait for the next 2 years with him. Okay, but this right here is the general philosophy, right? As a freshman, he was not doing this, right? There's not a single kid that comes to the weight from day one and learns to do this right away, right? We established that foundation, which we'll get to here in a second, right? But this is our Olympic weightlifting foundation. So all sophomores, juniors, and seniors getting that barbell being moved with some good velocity. And as you can see, it's been paying dividends for him. Okay, but it's all based on the snatch, the clean and jerk, and the front squat. And those are three Olympic weightlifting movements. Okay, always focus on that strength and speed. So I want to kind of walk you through what a process would look like from an 8th grader going into their freshman year to the time they graduate as a senior, right? So I think that's important to look at. Some of our 8th graders now, they're going to be coming to us in the summer, right? The summer, in my opinion, is my favorite, right? I say that, I hate to say favorite, right? That's not the right word, but I love the summer, right? Because it's optional, right? Anybody that's ever played sports, you hear the word optional. It does not mean optional, right? But again, our coaches are awesome. They're there every single day. Mr. Dexter has been gracious to kind of incentivize our coaches to be there. So we get about 6 to 10 coaches on any given day in our summer, and he actually incentivizes them by paying them for any session that they're there. Okay, so when the coaches show up, kids are way more inclined to show up as well. Though some of these numbers should be pretty eye-opening, right? Like I said, 32 kids per class. But in the summer, we have the girls average 48, right? So that's a number that's kind of been up and down throughout the years, but 48 is really, really awesome. We've had as much as 60. We consistently get over 50. But boys average 94, right? That's average. We had 110 or 111 at one session over the summer. So we had over 150 athletes. That was about a third of the school in one day in the summer, which is absolutely awesome. Okay, so that number alone should kind of open some eyes and kind of see that we are getting a lot of kids throughout that weight room and in our facilities throughout the summer. Okay, but again, what we do in summer could not be possible without some of our coaches. I cannot physically watch 110 kids at a time. There's no chance, right? Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to be slacking off. Somebody's probably going to leave, right? But direct supervision for many coaches is absolutely necessary. So again, it's great to kind of spread those kids out. We take a station outside. We'll take a station to the gym. One's in the weight room, kind of cycling through those 3 stations. But in order to make the breakfast club, it's what we call our summer, kids have to make up to, they can only miss 3, right? So if they miss 4, they cannot make the breakfast club. They miss more than 3, obviously they still come to every single workout as they can, but those that show up consistently get rewarded. Okay, so this year we had 30 female athletes and 78 male athletes. That's the most that we've ever had in my 6 years here. And the format for the summer, kind of run it through 3 stations like I mentioned. Each one has a primary focus. So one station will be outside with a specific coach or 2. They're working strength and speed. So speed and agility, top left. Okay, we're going to progress that from day 1. They're not doing what they're doing in day 20. Right, so day 1, very basic, working on some technique. We'll do some resisted change of direction, and let's progress throughout those 21 workouts. So we might start with 5 yards, progress in the distance to 10 yards, 15 yards. So instead of going with a partner, we'll kind of go with a sled or do something a little bit different, right? But again, we're progressing that throughout the summer. Lil Shep here, so Emily Shepard, you can see in the weight room, getting through our strength work. Okay, so that's what a front squat would look like. But again, this could be any given day. Monday, Tuesday, we'll do a bench. We'll do a squat the next day, and we'll do a single leg movement on the 3rd day. Okay, but that's what it would look like, and you can see people in the background obviously working as well. And then lastly, a 3rd station, I call metabolic conditioning, fancy term to say circuit training or high intensity training. Okay, so they're constantly moving. A couple kind of hard to see on the left here, but a couple different things here, like there's body weight movements. There's some auxiliary movements that we're not getting done in the weight room that we'll do out there. There's some ropes that we're working, sleds that we're pushing, tires that we're flipping. Okay, but it's all conditioning, and it's all time based. That way we can get our heart rate up for about 15 to 20 minutes. Then lastly, I made this. Sorry about that way. They don't. I'll transition to that, I guess. But lastly, I made that brick. Brick is kind of special, right? That's every summer, well, at least the last 3 summers, I try to come up with a theme, not to be so cliche. I know some of them are so cliche, but this year was brick by brick. And the senior girls took it upon themselves to decorate that brick, sign it, and that's something I'll cherish forever also. And then every day we'll do a finisher or some kind of competition. Okay, so Mondays, Tuesdays, we'll typically do a 2 to 3 minute deal where it's either some running, some abs, some kind of competition. And then Thursdays is our big team competition, right? We'll get the team, all the kids into a big team. We'll kind of compete. Obviously, you can see the girls here doing a a team deal where it's pretty challenging. Where they got the row prowler that has some weight on it. The next row goes right all the way down to 100 yards. And then this one's a boys group one day. They're pulling a sled and they're sitting down doing it. And this is a highlight on social media that we had. Obviously, have a couple of daughters in here celebrating that victory. So this is a slide that's a big one, right? So obviously, eighth grader comes in between their eighth grade year and freshman year. They're not doing exactly what you see in here, right? This was actually taken like 3 weeks ago, right? This was not even taking the fall semester, right? But it's a good kind of general idea of what we do. So in the summer, going to be a little bit more conditioning based because I only see them 3 days a week. It is 90 minutes, right? But we only have so much time that we get to work with them. So we are taking the eighth graders. They are doing a separate workout. They're not doing front squats. They're not doing overhead squats. They're doing a body weight deal with a coach, hammering the technique. As soon as they get to me in my class the fall semester, it's game on, right? But again, they're not touching a barbell day one. They're not going to be doing anything overhead day one, right? They are hammering the basics. Okay? And these 5 things are the basics. Okay? I can go into detail on every single one of these, but again, we don't want to be here till midnight. Okay? But it's all based on the squat, the press, the pull, the hinge, okay? And a carry. Okay? Those 5 things. There's not a list of 20, not a list of 30. These 5 things. If we do these 5 things consistently for 4 years and we get really, really good at those 5 things, I can guarantee you by the time they leave as a senior, they're going to be a strong, well-rounded athlete. Okay? So again, those 5 things. Again, there's 1,000 variations of these 5 things, but these 5 general things, if we can get really good at, I believe our kids will be good at. But now, these 2. Okay, this is kind of the big picture, I think, of this whole entire presentation, right? Class of 41. It was 42. Right? We had a girl drop out at the semester, okay, but a freshman class of 41. Okay, this is, again, three weeks ago doing a front squat. The first 9 weeks, they were all body weight. They're all kettlebell based. Then they got to the barbell after the 9 weeks. Okay, so this was taken, again, 3 weeks ago. You can see there's very little weight on the bar. There's 4 kids at every rack. So I have 5 racks that are double-sided. So there's 10 places to squat. 40 kids in the class. You can do some quick math. I have 4 kids at every single rack. Okay, I have to do supersets. That's essentially 2 exercises. So 1 kid is doing a squat. 1 kid is going to come back here and do a row. As soon as they're done, they go right back to squats. Okay, so they're constantly moving, but always, obviously with 4 kids that are at 2 exercises, there's always some wait time, right? So that's any weight room that you go to in the country, there's going to be wait time. The more that you can decrease the wait time, the better, obviously, right? But again, 40 kids in a class, if you can just kind of watch, they're communicating, they're talking, they're interacting with their peers, and it's a lot of great work. Okay, but this one right here, this picture, this was taken again 3 weeks ago. They're starting the basics of the Olympic lifts. Right? Every single kid has the ability now to hold a barbell and move a barbell. Again, we're not doing this in August, and this picture was not taken in August. It was taken in January. Okay, but again, there's 41 kids. You can only see about 30 kids in this picture. Okay? To the left would be the racks. Coach Kelly does a fantastic job. She's a co-teacher on that period. She takes one exercise, and I'll take the Olympic lifting exercise in this situation. So you have 20 kids with a barbell in their hand. And actually from where I'm standing on an elliptical, right? I'm standing on a machine. If I walk to the right, there's 4 treadmills and 2 more ellipticals, right? You have 10 kids walking around these barbells to the left, right? They're grabbing some weights to go do that extra exercise with Coach Kelly. Okay, so again, there's not a lot of space in there to safely walk, for one. And I have instructed every single kid where exactly to walk. Notice there's plates in between here. There's barbells right here. I could not walk there. Kids do not walk there. If they do, they don't do it again, right? They get yelled at pretty good. But again, one person to note here is actually Tim Boddicker. He's like 6'4". He's not on the space that I provided. Right after this picture, kind of got on Tim, like, hey, you have got to be on that black square. That way I know exactly where every single kid is going and they're moving. That way he moves 2 feet backwards, he can get hit with the barbell, right? I can lose my job. That is never a good thing. So safety in the weight room, #1 priority. And obviously I love my job. But again, this is the biggest deal for us. The new floor is going to help significantly, right? We have 5 platforms right now. There's 5 black squares that I have kind of moved right there to make sure I know exactly where those kids are. We're getting 10 platforms, which is going to be tremendous. That way it's going to be safe. We can walk around. We know exactly where to walk. But again, right now it's pretty tough to walk around those barbells. So that takes us from fall semester into the winter. So we're currently in winter weights. We have about a week and a half left of winter weights. There's always about 20 workouts this year. We got cut short with a couple e-learning days. but kind of mirror the winter weights based on summer, right? Try to make that as consistent as we can. Lifting 3 days a week. We'll go Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays after school for 1 hour. Kids come in there. We had 45 athletes today, so average, actually right on average. So 45. We've had as much as 55 this year. We had 38, I think, was the lowest that we've had. Those are open to any athletes that are not in a winter sport. So any swimmer, any wrestler, any basketball person, any cheerleader, those people are all at practice. Anybody that is not, hopefully comes to us. Again, these are completely optional. We don't take attendance. Anybody that is there is cherished. Anybody that is not there is not negatively affected on that. Okay, but these are something that we take pride in. These are not like in our contracted hours. These are not in our ECA stipends. These are there because like I said, we train year round. Or these are there because these kids need to train year round. And honestly, we get after it a little bit as well. A couple highlights here. Obviously, this is a tug of war. This is our ladies. Ladies here got a big Shep here. I said little Shep earlier, but this is a big Shep right there. That's Emerson and Steinwell's sophomore year. So another little finisher competition. The biggest one on this is the 2 videos at the top and bottom. Okay. You can notice where we are. We're in the blue hallway. Okay. So anytime that girls basketball, boys basketball is practicing, we don't have a gym, right? So we go in the hallways. In the weight room, I can really only have 45 safely lifting at a time at the absolute most. As any class, I would always say, got to keep it less than 45. In the weight room, we typically have, again, 45 athletes. We try to break it up as we can. We don't have anywhere to go, so we go in the hallways. Okay. After school tutoring is going on. Sometimes we have testing, other things going on. Somebody opens this doorway, could be at a big disadvantage there, right? But they usually hear the stampede going down there. They hear footsteps, so they know people are working. But we're going down the hallway. We're going up the stairs, going back around. We're doing some abs, or we're resting in between in the hallways. But again, that's another space deal that we try to use as much as we can. But again, big talking point here. So obviously earlier we talked about the space with the barbells, lifting safely. Second one is, I think, an area of growth, where I would say where we're behind other schools. This space right here, I can't time this. I cannot safely run a 40-yard dash in the hallway. I can't safely run a 40-yard dash in the gym. Excuse me. All right, I cannot time, even a 20-yard sprint safely, right? We could probably get a 10-yard sprint in the gym, but that's somewhere I think that we could absolutely, that's an area of growth that we could have, right? Other schools, strength coaches that I've talked to, all over the state, they have timing systems that they have. Those are fairly cheap, right? Some of those things are very expensive, way too expensive, but some of them are fairly cheap, right? I used to time everything hand time, not very reliable, right? You know it, I know it, kids know it. It is a good way to compete, right? So kids see a time, they try to beat that time, right? It's a great time to compete, but it's not valid, right? I can't sit here and tell any board member today that your kid's getting faster. And that, to me, is a big red flag of where we could actually grow in the future. And then that brings us into the spring semester. I think spring semester is, again, it's a great time. All of our spring sports getting ready to start, right? But right now is the time where we're kind of getting after it in winter weights, kind of that weird time where the winter sports are ending. Spring sports really haven't started yet. So this is a time that I think we can kind of ramp it up in the weight room in terms of weight. Okay, but again, there's never a single thing that I'm saying that it's all about the weight, right? The kids know it, right? Some of the kids are like every single day asking, can I go heavier? Can I do more weight, right? So that is always a good thing, right? The kids need to ask for more weight. Okay, so I have an example. Hopefully every single person got one, but some of your sons and daughters are on this page. You can kind of give them some crap tomorrow. If they're squatting less than somebody or they're beating somebody, that's great. But every single day, there's anything that we're doing on the barbell is mapped out for them, right? There's not a single kid that is on a barbell doing a squat, and I don't know what the weight is, right? So that's safety for one, and for two, I know that they're progressing, right? So on this sheet, you can see there's going to be, this is what they're doing tomorrow. All right, there's going to be six sets of front squat, right? And I know exactly what the weight is on the barbell. All right, so if they're on their third set, I know exactly what that weight is. They're safely doing that lift. I know exactly where they're at. All right, here's two great sophomores again for us. All right, Sam Roush, Isley Whiteley. Okay, but Sam is doing an overhead movement. This is a power jerk. Okay, Isley over here is doing a power clean from the floor and a clean from the floor. Okay, so again, nothing that you're going to see is crazy with the weight. It's 135 pounds. That's 65 pounds on the barbell. Not a single thing is emphasized in the weight. Every single thing that we do it technically sound first and foremost. They know for sure technique is always first. Second thing, they do it fast. Right? I need bar speed. Kids probably get so tired of hearing me say, move it faster. Right? As we see bar speed on those barbells need to be flying. And then lastly, we'll do it heavy. So again, here this spring semester, we have some time where there's not really some competitions where we can kind of ramp it up with some weight. And then, like I said, so if you do that consistently, right, all based on those 5 lifts, right? Yes, the clean and jerk, the snatch are great. And that is all to produce power and speed, right? As a sophomore, you get the opportunity in that summer for your sophomore, you get to learn those movements, right? The overhead movements. But if you do that consistently for 4 years, you should see results like this. Now, this is 2 out of 225, right? I could sit here all day and put every single kid on there. I test the vertical jump as well, right? I could sit here and tell you the stats. I'm not going to sit here and bore you to death, right? But these are 2 kids. These are actually taking their freshman year. I had to pull these from the archives, right? But Emerson, Jake, they don't look like that anymore, right? They don't look like that anymore. They're not sitting here muscle. Okay, Jake kind of a little bit sometimes, right? But they're not sitting here so stiff to where they can't move because we're just trying to put on muscle mass, right? No, they are athletic, they're flexible, and they're durable, right? They stayed relatively healthy, knock on wood, for the last 4 years, right? So that's the athlete that we're trying to build. And again, you can kind of see some of the numbers. Some of those numbers should jump out at you, right? But if you do that consistently for 4 years, I can guarantee you're going to be great, right? So all conference, Indiana All-Star, those are obviously some of the highlights. And then lastly, I'll kind of turn it over to you guys, but thank you, right? Just thank you so much for being able to do what I get to do every single day. It's a blessing, right? To be able to teach and coach your kids. Some people over here teach and coach your kids. It's a blessing, right? We have very little problems compared to other schools when it comes to attitudes and efforts, right? It's amazing. So thank you guys so much. The new floor is going to change a lot of what we do in a great way. So thank you guys for that. And I'm excited to really see what we're doing in the future.
All right. Thanks, Coach Burke. He's so valuable to what we do, and I hope you guys understand that. I'm up here as the elder statesman, back in 2013. It's my 13th year here. I'll kind of go where we've been and where we are now. Back 10 years ago, 8 years ago, it was all about, we're just concentrating on football. It's just concentrating on football. And we're not giving the same attention to the girls or other sports. Well, I'm a golf dad. I'm a swim dad. I'm a volleyball dad, soon to be soccer dad, maybe. I don't know about that, Simon, but that's what I'm hearing. Baseball dad. I mean, I go through it all, and you guys have all been there as well. And not just my kids because of my relationship with Nate, but their friends and everybody else. Think the world of him and his passion. I mean, he's not joking when he could say he could stand up here for all day and talk about this stuff. And I know you guys back here, okay, but understand that's what he does. He's a teacher. No room in our weight room no room in our school is used more than the weight room besides the cafeteria. If you think about it, 225 kids through there. He stays after. We stay after. We have about 6 coaches there Monday, Tuesday, Thursday for another 50 athletes after school. So 275 kids going through there. That's a lot. That's a lot. And he's got, personal impact with every one of those kids that come through. And we can grow and we're kind of like caged in a little bit. So like he said, if you ask any, weight guy, do you want turf in the weight room? He's going to say yes. He's going to say yes right away. But when we start doing a big dive into this is, I think, typically, is this kind of what it's going to look like? I mean, roughly what we have going. You see that picture that we had when he had his freshman, all the kids were holding bars to the side. Turf's going to be great for the prowlers and all that stuff. It's also going to condense our space when you really think about that a little bit. So we just need to kind of figure out where we're going, what we can do for him, how we can do it for him to give us the best facility possible. You see I tried to put this, to scale almost because we have a lot of clutter in our weight room around the sides. There's no storage. There's nowhere to put anything. So you go from 3,000 square feet, that gets shrunk down with all the ellipticals, treadmills, all of the neck machines, and then our dumbbells, our medicine balls, everything we have, plyo boxes that are all around the outside because there's nowhere else to go. That's just something to think about. Throwing out while we're doing this, I figured that was a talking point too. We're going to answer any questions you guys might have. The floor, the plates, huge. The 2 Pelly kids were tasked what was it, this summer?
Yeah.
This summer to
And
clean, what's that?
We're gonna do it again.
Yeah, to clean the bars. They came back looking like Ashton does when she self-stands. She got, I mean, just orange, just absolute rust all over their hands. And it was needed. And we don't typically ask for a whole lot. And we try to be self-sufficient. Football tries to help out whatever we need because a lot of those kids are using that equipment. Mr. Dexter's been great. Talk about the summer, we'll get into that. But that floor is going to be huge too. You talk about hygiene and safety. Our kids do planks right now and they wake up or they get up and their arms are black. That's where we are right now with that. So, Kyle. So let's talk about kind of where we were. Like I said, before I got here, and Rob, you can chime in here, but weight room in 2010, I believe. That's when it was built. Okay, right around then. I wasn't here for those first 3 years. They used to have every athlete come in the morning for the summers and everything, and they have a lot of coaches in there, but they'd only have about 20 kids in the weight room at a time. The auxiliary gym was then outlined. They do dots, they do planks, they do abs, and kind of around there. So we've kind of gone away from that a little bit. And then in 2013, we split those two spots up in the summer to go male and female and give us an hour and a half apiece to have more time on bars, more time in the racks. Our enrollment has gone down since 2015, 44 students, but at the same time, our advanced PE numbers have gone up since then. So just because our enrollment's gone down, 2015, we had 195 kids enrolled in strength and conditioning. I went to 2015 because 2013, freshmen weren't in there, right? Freshmen were not in there in 2013, my first year there, and we came in and we got the freshmen to be able to take a weightlifting class in 2014 for the first year, I believe. So those numbers would be really skewed if we just went back to 2013 is what I'm saying. That's why we used 2015 to 2026. Now we have 30 more students in there, even though the enrollment's been going down. Our summer strength and conditioning in 2013, I have all the data for this. Dug it back up. We had still a pretty good number, 86 males back then. Now we're up to 111, okay, that were coming in for, and that was last year. On the same date, I just used the first day of summer, the very first day of summer. That's what you got for those days. In 2013, the girls had 43. Last year, 61. Okay, and you can see kind of the increase down here with strength and conditioning. We're doing a good job. What allows that to happen is when coaches are invested, the players are going to be invested. And Mr. Dexter, incentivizing our coaches to come in at least one of those sessions helps us. Time's on our side in the summer. We have an hour and a half. An hour and a half is much different than 45 minutes. By the time in the turf field has been instrumental in doing that. We have 17-minute stations. We'll have anywhere from 6 to 8 probably coaches there every summer or every session during the summer. And it allows us to do, you saw the 3 stations out there, metabolic. That's a good word. It's metabolic. Still don't know what it means. I know what they do, but metabolic down there, then speed and agility. Then he has the other kids in the weight room. And 17 minutes, you're going to get a lot of time. But think about that in the classroom, there's not a lot of time. By the time they get dressed, let's say we wanted to go run out in the turf field, right? By the time you get dressed, you go out to the turf field, and as soon as you get done warming up, it's almost going to be time to come back in. And it's like the PE. It's kind of like how they go about it as well. And then you're missing a whole day of lifting too. So you got to prioritize that a little bit with what's beneficial and what's not. A lot of agility work is being done during the day, but the summer, like I said, time's on our side a little bit there. This is what we're up against, okay? And I keep throwing it around. In 2010, we had a brand new car. And in 2013, it was still new. In 2017, it was still okay. And we're starting to outgrow it. And that's just our community. That's what's going on. I just heard Michaela Smith talk about the FFA program, and they can't be in the community room anymore. They're going to have to find another spot. That community room was phenomenal for a long time. I had to move football out of there for our Thursday night meals. We can't fit in there anymore, for example. I mean, that's just something, that's a reality of what's going on in our athletic department, which is a great thing, but we're also kind of jammed for space. Put a couple things on here. It's in your packets as well. And this all kind of came about. I was at Cascade and did like a full tour through Cascade a couple weeks ago. And it's nice. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are things they would do different. I know there are some things that they would do different. But when you really start diving into the numbers, here's kind of what we found. The school out west, okay, and then Danville have 10,000 square foot weight rooms. And what we looked at is they have 400 kids going through there now. But if you divide that up by the amount of square footage, they got about 25 square foot per kid. Now, all 400 of those kids are not in the weight room all the time. I understand that. But that gives you an idea about the size and space that they have for all those kids. Cascade, and I think we did Greencastle too, right, Jeremy? Greencastle's around 4,500 square feet. This is what it looks like. I went through with the basketball coach. I've known him for a long time and had him take me through everything, ask him what they would do different, this and that. They have 166 kids going through a 4,500 square foot weight room. If you break that down, it's about 27 square feet. If you break ours down, 225 by square footage, 3,000. If Speedway math, I think we're like 3,288 is I think really where we are. And that's me counting 2 foot squares and doing that. 13 square foot. That's where we are from a spacing standpoint. And when you talk about the bars, we're almost going to bring in bars so you can see how much room an 8-foot bar actually takes, not just the 8-foot bar, but then side by side as well. So that's kind of what we're up against, just so you guys can see. I thought that was a decent visual to see. There might be one more slide on here, Kyle. In a perfect world, I just gave you all these numbers. 10,000 divided by 400. We're down here, 3,000 divided by 225. It's 13 square foot. Greencastle, 4,200 divided by 170, 25 square foot. In a perfect world, and I was just talking about that turf deal, just to think about, something to think about here. It gives us room for the prowlers. It gives us room not to scuff up floors. It's not in there yet, though. And I don't know if that's something we need to talk about or look at and see. I don't know if it's too late. It might be, and we'll certainly get use out of it if that happens. But in a perfect world, I guess, where are we going from here is what's it going to look like in 20 years? We're behind. We were ahead, and now we've fallen behind pretty quick. And that's to nobody's fault. We're doing the best we can with what we have. I think it can be better. I think he's right about the speed stuff, having somewhere to run, having somewhere to sprint. Being able to measure that stuff is going to be very valuable moving forward, but just also the space, having some storage and having some space, I think is the direction that we probably need to look at. So I think that's it for me.
And I'm honestly not going to go through this in detail. The rest of this, we gave you a 1-page kind of a synopsis of as this conversation continues on, when talking to coaches, talking to Coach Burke, all the possibilities in a perfect world, what some of the things that other schools have that we might benefit from. These are some things that came about from it. There are some things that you don't think about, like event operational aspects of it, whether it's having an officials locker room, whether it's having outdoor locker rooms, the number of locker rooms we have versus the number of teams. We're a junior, senior high school. So we've done some deep dives on that just for future conversation. And there's an entire presentation in its own right that you have that we can continue the conversation. But wanted to definitely show what we're doing and show the growth. And when you have the growth, at times you got to think of the flip side of that, of more people in the weight room probably might mean more standing, might be more, more people on a rack. You get somebody like a Jake Smith and he needs his own rack. Like I thought maybe somebody'd laugh about that, but he needs his own rack because of the amount of weight that he has on it. I'm assuming, Casey Foster was similar as well when it comes to that. So, having more of those, can benefit us down the line. But I think the program as a whole, it's a great thing and tremendous for what we do. And the buy-in is there. The buy-in's there from our coaches. They mentioned it. We spend about between $5,000 and $6,000 out of the athletic account to subsidize our coaches. And they just wouldn't be able to do it in the summer without them. These guys are the 2 stipend individuals for it. And it used to be that, back in the day, Coach Comer would take sophomores to seniors in the weight room, and Coach Pelly would take the freshmen in the Ox Gym. And now we're able to split up, into many different stations in the summer. It's a big help. So just finding ways to advance. And but at this point, yeah, we'd like to take any questions, and we know there'd probably be, there's a lot of information thrown at you for future dialogue. But questions for Nate, Justin, myself at this point.
What do you got? What are you looking for? Newer facility?
I just think when you're going to present it, we wanted to present what the future might hold. I mean, I'm in year 9. My first 3 or 4 years, people came here. They came here and they toured our facility, and they wanted to know what we did in strength conditioning, and they wanted to know, way back to when, those guys started it 15 years ago, how to get it started. Now they've got it started, and you look everywhere, and now they're building new facilities. So, the thought is that that's probably a conversation to be had at some point moving forward, down the line. But is that what we're here doing? No, but, I think it would be doing a disservice, when everybody that I've ever watched present to you, you ask the question, what do you need? And if we aren't prepared for that answer, then, we wanted to be prepared for it. Right, Phil? Because you're going to ask me next at the beginning, I know we're not Lebanon, but you're going to ask me if we're going to beat Lebanon, and they're going to have a 10,000 square foot weight room. So, yeah. But that question's coming the first day of school, isn't it?
As far as the technique goes, generally with the students, talk about how, and maybe not to get too many details, but on a big picture, talk about body weight, technique as 8th grade freshmen, and then adding the weight and progressing from there. Do we do anything with any kind of video analysis, anything to kind of give them some of the feedback, or is it primarily all just they've got years to work with, and coaches are giving that kind of feedback for them?
No, that's a great question. I would say in a perfect world, like we're talking, we would have 90 minutes with a class of 40, right? But right now I have essentially 45 minutes with 10 minutes at the front and back end when they're changing out, and 5 to 10 minutes of warm up. I really only get about 25 minutes with the kids to actually lift. So we're trying to get their 6 exercises in 25 minutes. So we're constantly moving. I'm constantly walking around. If I have a class of 40, I can't necessarily take a video, turn my back to the other 39 kids, show them that video. I could do that.
But we don't have that type of built-in technology or anything other than what we would have to on the fly.
Correct. Yeah.
iPads.
Yeah.
Correct.
phones.
Yeah.
There's several apps and everything. I actually have an app on my phone that I can take a video of a kid and
Yes.
show them. But again, it's the time to sit here and coach one kid, do everything exactly, watch the video, do it again. All right, watch the
Multiple
right.
planes and
Correct, right. So I'm constantly giving cues every single day. We're doing an Olympic lift. They're getting cues. They're getting a cue that might pertain to them, might pertain to somebody else, but they're also hearing that cue saying they need to focus on as well. Yes, I am individually coaching not every rep, but as many reps as I can. Right. So any kid that walks in the weight room, they're doing an Olympic lift. Hey, eyes up, shoulders back. Right. Little cues every single day to make sure that bar is lifted safely.
Well, thank you, Drew. Appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you guys very much.
Good presentation.
very thorough. Thank you. The other piece I'll go back to, and I don't know how much you guys necessarily said it or need to say it. The thing I always go back to, and I talk to our soccer players about, and just even my own kids, I want you to know how to do that so you're a good athlete, those types of things, but you're healthier. And the other thing is maybe just when we're being around the female athletic side of things, I want the kids to be confident enough when they finish at Western Boone for the rest of the time, if they want to go into Planet Fitness or YMCA or wherever I don't want them to be intimidated, think, oh, I don't know how to do that stuff. I don't want to, they got to go to school somewhere or they're in the community. I want them to have the same confidence to keep up those healthy habits for a lifetime, not only because we want them to do well in athletics and to be healthy when they're doing athletics.
Yeah.
But I think that's it's a huge component of kind of what we want in our kids just for their future. Yeah. So thanks for all your work, all of you with it. All right, we'll jump back in. Next, we're going into reports and action items.
No reports.
Action items. Sorry about that.
So with personnel, I recommend that you approve as presented.
Are there any questions with the personnel that has been listed ahead of time? Not hearing any. We have a recommendation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Melissa. All those in favor? Okay. And next, we've got a resolution to transfer amounts from the education fund to the operations fund.
Yes, I come to the board early in each calendar year asking for a resolution to allow us to transfer money from the education to operations fund that covers expenses that were previously in the general fund. The state maximum is 15%. And if you recall, we have, when we started, when they changed the bucket of funds, we were about at 15% the first few years. And this year we were all the way down to 3 or 4% and how much we actually transferred. So we only transfer what we need. But the 15% is the statutory maximum. So we just go ahead and list that. That covers us. When I do the 2027 budget, they will want this resolution to approve our 2027 budget. So it's also a very necessary formality that you take this step so that we get our 27 budget approved. But
Thank you. So we've got a resolution there to transfer that up to 15% from the education fund to the operations fund. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Greg. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Thank you, Dennis. All those in favor?
thank you.
Next is the school calendar.
Yes, looking ahead, we always try to stay 2 years out on the calendar. So we got together and the 27, 28 basically a replica of the 26, 27 school year. And with that, continue with the Wednesday before Thanksgiving off, and then the Friday before spring break would be off as well. Still wrap up the school year with a few snow makeup days prior to Memorial Day, which is always our goal. Memorial Day that year is the 29th, so that's a late Memorial Day. So, and that's we worked with the 3 corporations in Montgomery County that we do vocational with, and theirs are very similar. So I would recommend that you approve this.
Excellent. Thank you. We've got a recommendation for the 2027-2028 school calendar. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Phil. Any questions? No questions. All those in favor? Thank you. And next is with Tecton.
Yeah, so these next 2, in fact, are for a facility study at Western Boone and Granville Wells to try to figure out. We have a lot of debt that falls off the books in 2028. So here we are at the start of 26, and we need to start preparing with what that looks like and what we need to focus on. We know we have some HVAC and some other issues that I call are not quote unquote sexy over at the high school that need to be done. Granville Wells there hadn't been a lot done down there. So we're setting great at Thorntown with that recent project. So I would recommend that you approve this Tecton contract. And again, it kind of piggybacks on the next one as well. So,
yep. So we have a recommendation to approve Tecton for the facilities study at Granville Wells and the Western Boone Junior Senior High. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Adam.
Second.
Thank you, Dennis. Any questions, comments? The only thing I'll say is for anyone that maybe isn't aware, that's an entity that we've worked with in the past and had a good good working relationship. They showed value and really helped the school with previous projects. So
Yeah, so the last three, construction management, so it started with the pool, they really saved us on that. And then Thorntown project, we all have seen how well that's turned out and came in under budget. So yeah, it's been a good relationship. And then just most recently, they did the controls project over at the high school. They weren't involved with the tennis project, but they were involved with the controls.
yeah, they've definitely built up equity and they've shown good value every time we've worked with them.
Yep.
So we've had a motion and a second. All those in favor? Thank you. Next is Moat Park Group.
Yeah, so Moat Park's an architecture firm that we work with with Granville Wells and over at the high school, and this most recent one with the controls, and they specifically an engineering firm that they hired after we kind of vetted through a couple of different options. And so Moat Park would be working on this facility study with Tecton. So I would recommend that you approve it as well.
So we have that recommendation. Is there a motion?
So
Thank you, Greg. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dennis. Any questions or comments? Sorry, Adam. All those in favor? Okay. And next is the SAT stipend.
Yeah, I recommend you approve a $1,111 stipend to John Brunny and Krista Markinet for conducting an SAT prep course before school started when we returned back from break. And the funds for the stipends come from the course fees paid by the students. There are no funds from the education fund or the operations fund that go to pay those
Kind of a
stipends.
pass-through.
Yeah.
We've got a recommendation for that $1,111 stipend to John Brunty and Krista Markinet. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Phil. All those in favor? Thank you. And next is the summer marching band schedule.
For that, the pre-K,
I'm sorry.
pre-K
Yep.
tuition rates.
Yep.
So
26, 27.
Kyle has kind of done some numbers to make sure that that's a self-supporting program. If you remember, that's the fees paid by parents for their child to attend cover the cost of labor, the instructional assistants to run those two programs, or that program at each of the buildings. We have 2 teachers at each one. And so for next year, after running some numbers, he's recommended we go to $300 a month. So that would be up from $270.
Yeah, and I will just add, we have a small amount of money in a preschool grant from the Community Foundation. Trisha, are they still giving us a little bit each year?
Yeah, under 5,000, but it's.
Yeah, so they give us $4,000 to $5,000 each year, and we've used that money to offset the shortage that we've had to keep the cost low. This year in June, we had to use $13,000 of that fund. So we dipped into it more than we would like, and so it's time to raise the tuition to get us back to where we're not, because we only have $32,000 left in that grant fund. So a couple more years at that clip and we'll be out of that little support we have. So we're okay with subsidizing it $4,000 or $5,000 a year with this grant, but we can't do it at $13,000 each year. We'll run out. So I just wanted you to have a little bit of context to why that increase is there, is because we ran very lean, but we ran short this year. So.
And that is with full day pre-K
Every day.
5 days a week.
And we feel like it's still a very good value for them.
They provide their own lunch, but they have that option of purchasing from the cafeteria.
Correct.
Okay. Yep. So we've got a recommendation for that 26, 27 pre-K tuition rate at $300 a month. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thanks, Melissa. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Adam. All those in favor? Thank you. Next is the summer marching band schedule.
Yes, Mrs. Baker's put together her schedule for the summer marching band, and I would recommend that you approve that as presented.
So we have that recommendation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Greg. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dennis. Any questions? No, they spent a lot of time up there. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. Next is the bus purchase.
Yeah, Lisa has recommended that you approve the purchase of two 2026 IC 78 capacity diesel school buses for Midwest Transit utilizing the spring CISC bid sheet. And it follows our school bus replacement plan. Actually, our school bus replacement plan called for 3 buses, and with the cutbacks, we've going to 2. So that's, say, of the $400 and some $1,000 shortage, this is making up for $166,000 of that. So I would recommend that you approve Lisa's recommendation.
Thank you, Lisa. We have a recommendation for those 2 buses. Is there a motion?
I got a quick, Lisa. So with us only purchasing 2, did that put you in any kind of strain?
No, not really. It just means that we'll have to keep a bus a little bit longer than we normally do. But I mean, compared to a lot of schools, they keep them about a little bit longer than what we do actually, even though we run more miles than a lot of the schools that keep them longer. So it's kind of a wash there, but it's not putting too much of a stress on me.
They get to a certain age and they just have to be inspected
Twice
more
a
frequently.
year, and they have more, more maintenance goes into it. So it's job security for Kyle.
I'd say it was nice. I appreciated the fact that you put the bid information on there and gave us that detail ahead of time. That was good to look through. Thank you.
Phil, it's a perfect example of what SAE wants doing.
Yeah.
People don't think, it's just like, well, you just have to do more with less. You guys, irresponsible spending, and we go on down the list of some of the thoughts that are out there from the State House. In the long run, we'll have to determine what kind of position it puts transportation in the immediate future. Not much of one, but a few years down the road, if you're not doing it year after year, then that starts adding up.
Good point. Thanks, Phil. So we have that recommendation for the 2 buses. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Both. All those in favor? Okay. Next would be the application for the use of school facilities.
Yes, Dover Christian Church is requesting use of the auditorium for Sunday, April 5th for Easter Sunday services for 6 hours on that day, per the board policy 1290.
And we've got that with the fees for the facility as well as for the custodial folks. They sign off on the contract as well as liability, all of those types of things. Okay. So we've got a recommendation that we consider the use of the school facility for Dover Christian Church on April 5th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Greg.
Second.
Thank you, Dennis. All those in favor? Thank you. Next is non-resident students.
Yeah, I have 4 here, 2 of them for this year, and then 2 for next. So Jaden McLean, Western Boone, 9th grade for this year. Austin Cummins, Western Boone, 10th grade for this year. Chase Ford, Western Boone, 7th grade, 26-27. And then Olivia Owens, Western Boone, 11th grade, 26-27. And I should say that the 2 that are on here for this year were students. They just changed the address. So.
Great. We have a recommendation for those non-resident students. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Adam. All those in favor? And next is the out-of-state overnight field trips.
Yeah, I have a few here. Jeremiah Crouch, DECA chapter to Marriott in Indianapolis, March 2nd to March 3rd for the state competition. Amanda Trent, FFA Blackhawk College Livestock Judging Contest at Galva, Illinois, March 6th to March 7th. And then Amanda Trent, FFA Livestock Judging Contest at Joliet, Illinois, April 3rd to April 4th. I would recommend you approve each of those.
And we had all that information. They've gone through the normal vetting process and approvals. So thanks for everybody getting that information together. So we have a recommendation for those 3 events, those 3 trips. Is there a motion?
So
Thank you, Melissa. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Greg. All those in favor? Thank you. And next is donations.
Yeah, we have a few here. Grayville Wells received $2,500 from Jamestown Community Partnership for student and staff needs. Thorntown received $721 from the American Legion Auxiliary for staff fund. Western Boone Athletics received $1,040 from Wolf Creek Trucking for Jim's Wall sponsorship. The choir at Western Boone received an anonymous donation of $500. The band from Western Boone received an anonymous donation for $500 as well. And then Western Boone FCA received an anonymous donation of $500. The Western Boone Global Travelers received an anonymous donation of $500. Radio TV received an anonymous donation of $1,650. And Western Boone Girls Soccer received $100 from Keystone Charitable Foundation. And then last but not least, Western Boone FFA received $300 from the Boone County Pork Producers. Mr. Carroll mentioned that earlier, I believe. So we appreciate all the support from our community. We couldn't do it without them.
That's excellent. We have a recommendation for all those donations. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Dennis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Greg. All those in favor? Great. Next, we're moving to claims.
Few to mention tonight. One was on January the 12th, and that was actually a transfer. We moved $7 million from Home National Bank to Trust Indiana, which is an investment vehicle that public entities are allowed to use. You'll actually see the interest come up later when we do the comparison report for that. We also had an ACH payment made on January 13th to First Makerspace. That was for 30 OzoBot Evo robots at Thorntown Elementary. $5,200 of that claim comes from an Eli Lilly STEM grant, and so we are grateful for that. Check number 096157 was to the Boone County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $100,000, and that is for our SROs for the 25-26 school year. 50% of that is paid from the Secured School Safety Grant, and I want to thank Tricia for working hard on getting that for us every year. And those were all the claims I was going to mention tonight.
Excellent. Thanks, Kyle. Then I would entertain a motion to approve the claims for January 12th through February 9th, 2026, then as submitted. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Adam. All those in favor? Okay. And next are the monthly financial reports.
As of January 31st, 2026, the education fund cash balance was $5,343,271. Education fund expenditures for January were $1,260,762. And at the end of January, a total of 9% of the 2026 appropriation was expended. The operation fund cash balance at the end of January was $3,916,674. Expenditures for January out of the ops fund were $626,996. At the end of January, 9% of the operations appropriation was also expended. Western Boone County Community School Corporation has investments in the form of various interest-bearing accounts with financial institution and has earned year-to-date interest as follows. Home National Bank, $28,370.19. North Salem State Bank, $11,039.82. And Trust Indiana, $14,017.25. January was a 3 payroll month, so that's why you notice those expenditures are higher than normal. That is all.
Twice a year. Okay, great. Thank you, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is there gonna be 27 pays this year?
No.
Is that broken out because of the day's work?
Yeah, so every year, we have 26 pays, and so every year, there's gonna be 2 months that have 3 pays to hit that 26 pay. And about every 7 years, you gotta go 3 weeks between pays because of that extra week, so you don't have 27 pays in a year, but yes. And it's complicated in the school world because we have the calendar year, we have the school year that also has to be 26 pays, and then we have the fiscal year, which also has to be 26 pays. So we're always, and Amber and Kristen especially are keeping a close eye on it, but yeah, we've got to avoid those 27 pay years in all those cycles.
It's always hard to explain when we have to go 3 weeks.
You just say leap year.
Yeah.
Leap year build up. Other?
Yeah, we had, I sent you all the one, then Abby had one come in at late in the day here, so I have 2 for you. Kelsey Thompson, temporary instructional assistant at Thorntown, starting today or tomorrow.
She came today.
Today and going through March 6th. And then Anna Cruz Perez, resignation for speech language pathologist assistant. That was effective, it'd be effective February 20th. I would recommend that you approve both of those.
Thank you. So we've got a recommendation on those 2 personnel items. Is there a motion?
So, second.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Dennis. All those in favor? Okay. Any announcements you want?
Yeah, I have a couple here. First of all, Mr. Miller shared with me today, so I thought I'd share with you all the band solo and ensemble contest this past weekend. 5 ensembles, 7 solos, 24 students. They earned 12 gold medals, 1 silver medal, and then 6 events are going to state. So great performance by Mrs. Baker and her students.
She was on cloud 9.
Yeah.
It's a different world than what we
Right.
live, but that's a big deal for the music world.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
That's in 3 weeks, I believe. The state is.
Yeah.
I've heard some stuff about it.
yeah. So I'm very, very proud of Miss Baker and the students there. We have trivia night coming up. We still have 2 tables available for that. We have 14 already have purchased to attend that for the Western Boone Education Foundation. Have the musical coming up the 13th and 14th of March, Frozen Junior. I know Mrs. Gillian and Mrs. Sparks are working hard on that. And then we have winter break on Monday and Tuesday next week. So those are all my announcements.
Was it last year that Mrs. Baker met up with folks and picked up some tubas or whatever at one of these type events?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, from the Band of America contest now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the other significant announcement that has been coming around, and I'll just kind of read it, so I don't mean to sound overly formal, make sure we get it right here. But kind of on behalf of the board, after thoroughly working with the university search team to screen 17 applicants, the school board conducted several rounds of interviews, and we had several quality candidates. And I'm pleased to announce on behalf of the board that we've selected our next superintendent, and pending the advertisement of the contractual language and the subsequent state mandated hearing, that'll be on February 23rd. The board will plan to approve Mr. Kyle Whiteley at our next board meeting on March 9th, 2026, and he'll start in the new position of superintendent. That would be a July 1, 2026 effective date. And I guess I'm saying this as much for the people who might be the vast audience online. For those who don't know Kyle, he was a 1996 graduate of Western Boone, and he served on the Western Boone County Community School Corporation's Director of Business as the Director of Business and Technology since 2018. So he's very familiar with our operations. Prior to that appointment, he served as our technology director for 11 years. So Kyle and his wife Megan are the proud parents of one graduate and 4 current students, Luke, Ellie, Isley, Liam, and Emmy. And as the board, I think speaking on behalf of all of us, folks put a lot into this, and we're confident Kyle will guide our school corporation with the same integrity and dedication that we've had to this point, and also that he has demonstrated over the last 19 years. So again, don't mean that to sound overly formal, but I think there are times where a little more formal announcements warranted, and this would be one of them. So Western Boone, I think folks know we've enjoyed a pretty unprecedented stretch with Rob Ramey in our superintendent's seat, and the work that's been done and the results that have been going on. And we've got an amazing foundation. That's partly due to the superintendent. That's partly due to the efforts of the board, and it's due a ton to the teachers and administrators in this room, as well as the parents who care and the community that cares so much. I think, as I just sum it up, talking about getting 17 applicants for something that, you never know where we're going to land, but I think people very badly wanted this position, and we were very thorough with it. And I'll probably reiterate it now, but I think we got the best candidate, and we're very excited to have Kyle moving into that role starting July 1. So congratulations. Thank you. And I think next is I would accept a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Melissa. All those in favor? All right. Thank you all very much.